Hi there, Facebook. Here we go. I'm about to unleash about LeBron James and Michael Jordan and that now defunct argument rendered null and void by what we've just, quote-unquote, witnessed in LeBron's house for a second straight game. That's 3-4, 2 stinkers for LeBron James over and out of Cleveland. But before I get unwound here, quick cameo from our daughter Hazel, our little Maltese. She's actually a pretty big Maltese, bigger than we thought. Just a quick shot here of Hazel. She's been asleep. The game put her completely to sleep. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're a very sweet girl. Thank you. Say hi to Facebook. Look. She just woke up. Cavs put her to sleep. That was an embarrassment. I know. Thank you. Here, Ernestine, my wife. Ernestine's also had enough of that quote-unquote game. So, I can't wait for a Monday's Undisputed. It's 9:30 to noon Eastern on Fox Sports 1. Across from me will be my debate partner, my man, Shannon Sharp, who's been wearing his goat mask, a literal goat mask, in honor of his man, LeBron James, as in the GOAT, according to Shannon, of all time. The greatest of all time, says Shannon Sharp, that LeBron James is now greater than Michael Jeffrey Jordan, the man I covered in Chicago through his final Bulls run, 1998 playoff run, to his sixth championship in 6 tries with 6 finals MVPs. And I think that GOAT mask just got retired. I think LeShannon Sharp just lost 2 more cases of Diet Mountain Dew to me because I bet him tonight on Game 4, just Game 4 alone. I had Golden State because I thought LeBron and company were just shot through the heart after LeBron's meltdown in Game 1. I'm going to go deeper into that in just a moment. But he owes me a second case of Diet Mountain Dew because he predicted that LeBron for these playoffs would shoot 80+% from the free throw line. I haven't added it completely up, but it's probably around 74 to 75%. So he also fell short there, but he fell shortest on his argument that LeBron James has eclipsed Michael Jeffrey Jordan. You know what? It just makes me sick. And I don't want to pile on, but I can't help myself tonight. We don't have a show tomorrow, so I am going to spill. I'm going to regurgitate everything I've been harboring in the pit of my stomach over the last couple of months as LeBron James once again cakewalked through the Eastern Conference or the Leastern Conference to his 8th straight finals. And I got to tell you, he just laid a huge egg in these NBA finals. All-time huge. This was his worst finals of all. He's now fallen to 3-6, 9 finals. This had to be even worse than the all-time superstar meltdown I've ever witnessed, which was his first go-around with the Miami Heat when he took his talents to South Beach and joined forces with Chris Bosh, who was on our show the other day, and he was tremendous. Love Chris Bosh. Used to have issues with him, have no issues now because he's just brilliant, eloquent, and LeBron was lucky to have him as a teammate. And obviously the great Dwayne Wade, who taught LeBron how to win, helped him win. And just a quick aside, as I said on Undisputed 2 days ago, after Game 3, was it 3 days ago? I'm losing track of the days. But what I said after Game 3 was the quietest move at the trade deadline was the worst move that Cleveland made. They allowed Dwayne Wade to just go on about his business and go back home to Miami, and it cost them being competitive in this finals. Dwayne Wade would have saved LeBron in these finals, I believe. Dwayne Wade couldn't save LeBron in the 2011 finals when obviously they were up 2-1 with Game 4 at Dallas. LeBron, according to my friend Stephen A. Smith, went back to his hotel room and began making a list of names to whom he was going to say, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so, because he thought he was about to win his first NBA championship. And you know the rest of the story. Meltdown, 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 meltdown. Chosen one, as LeBron deemed himself coming out of high school with the tattoo across his back, became the frozen one in the 2011 finals. I've just never seen anything. He just froze up, closed down, shut down, and his team collapsed around him. And they lost in 6 games. I thought my man Jason Terry should have been the MVP of that finals. Dirk was. Congratulations, Dirk. And, of course, LeBron did bounce back in the next finals against the baby thunder of Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. And he broke through after they lost Game 1 with a big non-foul call at the end of Game 2. Then he got fouled, to his credit, went down and made the 2 free throws, which has been his nemesis, late-game free throw shooting, especially in big games. And they went home and went boom, 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 and that was that. But they got huge games from Mario Chalmers, Mike Miller. They had a huge game in Game 2 from Shane Battier. So it does take weird help sometimes. I thought LeBron had enough help to get this to 7 games in this series. I picked Golden State in 7. My partner, LeShannon, picked LeBron in 7 games. I'll give a quick shout-out to our man, Rob Parker. He predicted sweep, and I got to give it up. I've won a lot of dinner bets from Rob Parker, but he got this one right, and I think he won. I couldn't even keep up with the end of the bet, but I think it was, I don't know what it was, 200 wings or flats, or I don't eat wings, so forgive me. I don't know what they are exactly, but the bet kept going up to maybe 300 wings just on tonight's game, that it wouldn't be a sweep. And so Shannon, I don't know if he's going to show up on Monday. You better tune in. It's 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern, to see if that seat's empty across from me. I may have to debate myself. And if I do, it'll be the first debate I ever lose on national TV, because I think I'm the only one who could beat me in a debate. We'll see. That'll be a contest. I'll have to get up for that one on Monday. But the point is that LeBron stunk it up in these finals in ways, in this sweep, that he never stunk it up even in that 2011 finals. At least he played 3 good games. At least they were up 2-1 before the meltdown occurred. But this meltdown occurred early. I'm not going to give him a pass for this. This series turned in Game 1, near the end of Game 1. And don't tell me he doesn't have enough help, because LeBron had plenty enough help to be in position to win Game 1. He had the ball in his hands, down only 1, with 7 seconds left, top of the circle, gets the switch onto Lil Steph Curry. Steph Curry's, of course, 6'3" tall. LeBron's 6'9", 270. And LeBron had the hottest hand in a big game I have ever seen him have in Game 1. He took, 1-3 tonight, I think. He took virtually no jump shots tonight in 3 or 4 at home, Game 3 or 4. If you can explain this to me, he just shut it down from outside the paint. He wouldn't even attempt shots from outside the paint. What was just a handful in Game 3 and maybe 2. He did make that one little baseline. I guess that was just barely outside the paint when he shot the high arcing shot. But other than that, he took, I think, just 1-3 and missed it badly. So just shut it down from outside tonight. That's always been his flaw. Jump shooting, free throw shooting. But I'm just checking out here. Obviously, Doris Burke continues to interview, and I'm going to continue to talk. But the point is, end of Game 1, I'm not going to let him off the hook for this. For you apologists, you LeBron defenders, you blind witnesses out there, I'm right about this. I've always been right about this. LeBron James is afraid to take that shot down 1. He made 2 big buzzer beaters. I give you that. He's played more playoff games than more playoff minutes than anybody, and he's failed so many times, but he did not fail in 2 big buzzer beater games, as you know. Still, he got away with the goaltend ahead of the first one, and The other one, I still think he lucked it in off the backboard because I think he got too deep and shot it sideways right-handed running full speed to the baseline, and I think he didn't mean for it to tick the backboard before it went in, but whatever, I give it to him. But I'm not going to give him this one because 7 seconds left, hot hand, he's made 7 of 14 shots from outside the paint. Just go up and shoot it. You're the man. You're the guy that everybody tells me is better than Michael Jordan. You're the quote-unquote best player on the planet. You're better than Kevin Durant. Everybody's been telling me that all year long. You had your greatest offensive year ever, and you're not going to take that shot. It's the shot of shots. This is the whole moment. We're not watching this celebration right now if LeBron James can take and make that shot. Or if you want to drive it, if you think you can slip through the crack or power through the crack, because you've got Draymond, I can't remember which way it was, Kevin over here, Kevin Durant over here, Draymond to your left, and you can go one way or the other, and if you power past Steph and through, well, maybe you can get to the foul line. Do you really want to get to the foul line late in the game with 2 seconds left and have to stand there by yourself and not just make one? You'd have to make 2 to win the game, obviously. So he opts to put the game and the series and the finals in George Hill's hand. I've said it. I'm not being 20/20 hindsight hypocritical here. I said it on Undisputed the day the trade was made. I'm not a George Hill fan. I don't trust him. I don't believe in him. I appreciate his expertise. He does have a high basketball IQ, but the Spurs traded him because he's not that guy. He played on 3 Spurs teams. 2 got eliminated in the first round, and the second one got swept by Goran Dragic in the Phoenix Suns. Got swept in round 2. Not all on George Hill. I'm just saying he wasn't that guy at the point guard. He couldn't generate that sort of big game, big play electricity. And the one guy, I'm not going to put the ball in his hands with the game and the whole season on the line is George Hill. I turned to my wife, Ernestine. I said, I'd pick Cleveland to win the game. Game 1, to steal game 1. I was adamant about it. On the record, they're going to steal this game at Oakland. It's perfect spot. And I turned to Ernestine and said, we'll be lucky if he makes 1. And he made the first one. And I was pretty surprised. And I was not surprised that he missed the second one. And yet, Kevin Durant was then on the hook to be the lowercase GOAT of the game, as in the reason that Golden State lost the game, because he failed to box out with inside position in the rebound lane J.R. Smith. And you know the rest of the story. J.R. snakes in, grabs the rebound, has lost track of the score. He thinks, who knows what he was thinking. He thought they were ahead. He turned to LeBron a couple seconds later and said, I thought we were ahead. So he doesn't know what to do. He dribbles the ball out toward half court to kill the rest of the clock. LeBron's screaming at him. Then LeBron's trying to call timeout. Ty Lue's trying to call timeout from the far bench. Referees are focused on JR. They don't know what he's doing. They don't call the timeout. They don't see the signals for timeout. And it's a debacle. It didn't lose the game. It just cost Cleveland a chance to win the game. Could JR have, if he knew the score, could he just turn and shoot a little quick jumper in the lane from, 8-9 feet? Is he capable of making that shot? Yep, he's capable. But he didn't. So then what happened? LeBron James lost the finals right there and then on the bench. Again, Dwayne Wade's there. This doesn't happen. Dwayne Wade's going to put an arm around him, hug him close, and say, hey, no, sorry, you can't do this. Hang on one second. My TVs are so bright, I got to get them. I got to get rid of them. You can't do what LeBron James did. He was crying over the spilled milk that JR spilled, and he sat away from his teammates and threw a tantrum. A guy finishing his 15th year threw a tantrum. I've never seen anything so childish from such a mature basketball player, such a high IQ player. And obviously he berated JR on the court because he wanted everybody to know this is JR's fault. Don't blame me, blame him. Get the focus off the last play, because LeBron knew in his heart of hearts he should have shot the shot. You have to shoot the shot. You're LeBron freaking James. Shoot the shot. You got a hot hand. I know it's that classic case. It's down one, so it's a do or die shot. He's never been any good. He always shies away from the do or dies. The two that he made were safety net shots where you're tied. You can go to overtime. It's no big deal if you miss. He's missed dozens of those in his career. You can shoot it with a certain peace, a certain conviction, because you know you got a backstop, you got overtime. In this case, he was going to have to shoot it with no safety net. It was going to either go in or not go in, and he did not want that pressure. So he gets away with making the right basketball play, quote unquote, just as he did last year in Game 3 to Kyle Korver in the corner. Wrong. You're LeBron freaking James. You make the play. You make the shot. Michael Jordan doesn't pass in those scenarios or situations. Michael's not the passer LeBron is, but Michael was a really good passer, averaged, 6 assists in his career. I think it was closer to 7 in the playoffs. I might be one too high. I think it was about 6 and 6 playoffs regular season. He could have averaged 10 assists easily if he had chosen to, but he was the scorer on that team. He was as they called him, the bailout guy at the end of the 24-second clock. Just give it to Michael and he'll create a shot, make a shot. Okay? That's what he did. Way better than LeBron can do it. LeBron's a terrific scorer. No Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan won 10 scoring titles. 10 to LeBron's 1. 10 to 1. Wow. Okay. So, LeBron's sitting a seat away from his teammates. JR's comatose, in shell shock, and nobody wants to talk to LeBron, and he leans over and asks about a timeout. He knew they had a timeout. Ty Lue called him out the next day by saying, I told them with 34 seconds left they had a team timeout. They called timeout just to talk it over. And he told everybody in the huddle, said Ty Lue, we have one more time. We have saved one if we need one. So I don't know what LeBron was doing. He's trying to blame somebody. He's trying to show the blind witnesses, don't put this on me, put it on my team. I don't have enough help. I don't have enough help from my coaching staff. And he threw a tantrum. He threw in the psychological towel. I've never seen anything like it. He quit on his team right there in that huddle. We got to see the extended video 2 days later, and it's ball game, series over, because that team, it's going to go as LeBron goes. There's a lot of talent on that team, but they just wait to see what the diva's going to do. The drama king. And what does he do in overtime? He just pouted. He just gave up. He quit shooting. He went 2 minutes and 26 seconds of the overtime at Oakland. Remember, it's 0-0. What does Jordan do? What does Magic do? What does Bird do? Name somebody. Bill Russell. What do? They rally the troops. We got them. If I told LeBron before the game, you can have overtime tonight here at Oracle. Yeah, take it. Game 1, what were they? 12.5-point underdogs? Overtime, it means you get to start 0-0, play 5 minutes. For the series, if you win that game, the Golden State's fighting uphill all the way. Golden State was in huge trouble against the Rockets. They were getting bullied. They were getting blasted physically out of their offense, pushed around. If Chris Paul doesn't go down, I'm pretty sure Houston wins. I don't know that for a fact because nobody will ever know that. But in my heart of hearts, I think Chris Paul would have gotten them home the way he was playing. He was taking it up a level that I'd never seen him play at. And that team was physically superior to Golden State. Football physically superior. My God, P.J. Tucker, Ariza, and Chris Paul while he was healthy. Capella. They were doing a physical number on Golden State. Golden State's a finesse team. Golden State was getting their butts kicked on the boards by Cleveland. Cleveland won the backboards for the series by 60. They're plus 16 in the 4 games on the backboards. What does that tell you? They're the more physical team. Obviously, They lost the 4 games from 3 and from the free throw line. Well, that happens. So here we are in game 1. LeBron doesn't shoot for the first 2:26 of overtime. 2:26, and they're down 7. And it's game over. And then he took 4 more half-hearted shots and missed all 4. He went 0 for 4 in overtime. You want to talk about the all-time stinker? That's it. That's it. And here's the capper. He had scored 51 points. He made 2 free throws in overtime. So let's just do it this way. He'd scored 49 points in regulation. 49. So he went from having maybe his greatest game ever to his ugliest finish ever. He didn't take the shot. Tried to blame everything on JR, which was the all-time mental blunder. But again, didn't cost the game, just cost them a chance to win the game. And then he melts down in the sideline huddle. Just completely melts down. He won't talk. He won't put his hand in. It's just the all-time shameful embarrassment. It's the all-time bad look for a superstar. That's where you're disqualified from the Michael Jordan discussion. You're over and you're out. You're null and you're void. Right then and there, you're done in my book. I just can't take it. Again, I've taken such a beating, and I don't care. It doesn't bother me. One thing I do have is thick skin. But I've taken such a beating. I'm a LeBron hater. No, I'm just a truth teller. I'm just telling you what the guy isn't. He's supremely gifted. He's the best passer in basketball. He's the biggest, baddest freight train I have ever seen powering to the basket. But leader? No. Big shot taker and maker? No. Did he come alive here late in his career this year? He made some bigger ones. I'll give him that. But through his career? No. Winner? No. Eastern Conference? Yes. Great front-running cakewalker in the East? Yep, I give you that. Very smart to stay East. Whatever team he's been on has been favored all 8 years in a row to win the Eastern Conference, and he pulled it off. And that's a great feat on durability. Most durable athlete I've ever seen in any sport. Iron Man. I give you all that. But mentally tough? No. Michael Jordan was the mentally toughest athlete I was ever around in any sport. And I've been doing this for a long time in a lot of sports. Number 1 on my list, Michael Jordan. Ali was up there too. But in team sports, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Mentally toughest, big shot, big play maker ever. LeBron James, often the mentally weakest superstar I've ever witnessed, quote unquote. Like him, think he's a good guy. Seems to be a good father, husband. I don't know because I'm not close to that, so I don't want to put myself out on that limb. But seems to be. Carries himself well. It seems like he's a good role model. But Michael Jordan? Are you kidding me? Seriously, Michael Jordan, let's just boil it down to this. Michael Jordan was a basketball assassin. I know him. A lot of times, not a good guy. I don't care. We're gauging him as a basketball dominator, assassin, basketball killer, rip your heart out, rip your throat out. Didn't care what anybody said about him. LeBron always worried about what everybody says about him. Thinnest skin of a superstar ever seen. Constantly haunted by, how am I coming off? How am I perceived? How do I look? What are they going to say? Mentally weakest in big moments I've ever seen of a man that talented. That's a meltdown that cost your team whatever semblance of a chance you had in the finals, in game 1. Then we go, game 2, they played a really good third quarter. They won 34-31 at Golden State, which I did not think was possible because obviously Golden State has owned the third quarter. So gave him a little ray of light, semblance of hope. So you come home and we're all thinking, the world thought LeBron would win game 3. It's LeBron at home. You're good enough. And they were good enough. And what happened? Same thing that happened in game 3 a year ago. Same time next year. A year ago, Game 3, Cavs are up 6 on a J.R. Smith 3 with 3 minutes to go. Up 6. This is LeBron in his palace. This is his house. If you give Michael Jordan the basketball up 6 with 3 minutes left in an NBA Finals game, down 0-2, I promise he'll just get it home. You won't be able to stop him on offense or defense. And what happens last year? LeBron wound up with the ball in his hands with a minute and a half left and still up 4. And on the first play, he gets a step on Iguodala, and you just got to drive it. Just drive it. He got a step on him off the pick, and just drive it and shoot. Make 1 free throw. Make it a 5-point game with 1:25 left. Maybe make 2 free throws. Maybe dunk it. I don't know. Maybe make it up off the glass. Highly capable, best driver of the basketball I've ever seen. And instead, he stops, pulls it back out, and shoots a fadeaway from a little outside the free throw line that doesn't even come close. It's a horrible possession. And then with 50 seconds left, he drives into the lane on Draymond, gets a step on him. KD is lurking, but if you're LeBron James, you just got to take this shot. This is the ball game now. Kevin had just made the baseline jump shot at the other end to cut it to 2. So you're still up 2. You just need, with 50 seconds left, you need to make a basket. Get to the free throw line and make 1 or 2. Just get the game home, LeBron. If you're that guy, which you're not, but if you're that guy, you get the game home. I'm talking about last year. And you know the rest of the story. He kicks it to Kyle Korver, and Kyle Korver's never been in that position. I know Kyle was almost like a pitiful, pathetic disaster in this series, but he kicks it to Kyle Korver, and of course he missed it, just the way George Hill missed the second free throw. They're not that guy to make that shot. You're the king. Come on, king, take the shot, make the shot. Nope. And Kevin Durant comes right down, and LeBron doesn't get up into him, defending him. And you know the rest of the story. Kevin hit it right in his face. 1-point lead for Golden State. They come back the other way. LeBron has the ball over on the side. It seems like he's going to go up for a 3 to tie it. They made another basket. And Iguodala knocked the ball out of his hands, and it caroms off LeBron's knee out of bounds. Game over. So then we fast forward to Game 3. This year at home, it's the Kings' house. They're up 1 point with 3 minutes to go. And the Cleveland Cavaliers get outscored 14-5 down the stretch. So last year down the stretch, from up 6 with 3 minutes left, they got outscored 11-0 down the stretch. This year down the stretch of Game 3, it's the pivotal game. You're down 0-2 at home in both cases. Last year, this year. This year, they're up 1 and get outscored down the stretch the rest of the way, the last 3 minutes, 14-5. 14-5. This is LeBron freaking James we're talking about, and he can't hack it. And all I hear is he doesn't have enough help. So quick aside, I said this on Undisputed. I'm going to be out ahead of this story because I'm predicting this for Monday in the next 48 to 72 hours. The blind witnesses, the apologists will mass. And the best thing actually that could have happened to LeBron against this Golden State team was to get swept. He'll get more of a break getting swept because everybody will say, oh, he didn't have a prayer. He didn't have anywhere near enough help. That other team is so loaded with so many MVPs and finals MVPs that it was a mismatch. So LeBron will get a break for the mismatch where if they'd won a couple of games, then maybe people would start to say, well, wait a second, maybe LeBron was at fault because they had a chance to make this more of a series than they did. So he'll get a bigger pass getting swept when he was pathetic in Game 1. Like pathetic, way beyond Kyle Korver pathetic. His behavior was pathetic in Game 1. It was unconscionable. It was egregious. It was all-time unacceptable for a superstar leader of a team that won the Eastern Conference. A superstar who was back to his 8th straight finals. You just can't do that. So Game 3 is the turnaround game. Obviously, Kevin Durant outplayed LeBron James on both ends of the floor, had 43 to LeBron's 33 in Game 3, and took the game over in every big moment on offense and defense. And that was the end of that deal. They were pretty much blown out of the water in Game 3. Then tonight, a second straight stinker for LeBron, who was just, let me get my notes. The incredible thing about tonight's game, obviously they're fighting for pride, and you wondered, will the king at home just say no? That's what my man LeShannon Sharp said on Undisputed today. Again, you can see us Monday, 9:30 to noon Eastern, Fox Sports 1. And it's going to be hellacious, man. I don't know if Shannon's going to show up. But LeBron tonight, I thought, would he just show some pride? Some energy, some urgency? No. LeBron took a grand total of 13 shots tonight. He scored a grand total of 23 points. I think he needed 35 to pass Jordan's final scoring record. So he didn't even get to that. And he had 6 turnovers. LeBron James, from the get-go tonight, was lifeless on defense. I've been saying this on Undisputed all year long, and I'm not going to back off tonight as we put this all to bed and his second go-round in Cleveland to bed. LeBron James quit playing defense at age 33 in his 15th year this year. He ranked in individual defensive win shares 309th in the NBA during the regular season. I'm not sure what he ended up for the playoffs, but it was somewhere in the maybe 40, 50s. It was terrible by his standards. This is a man who has made 6 first-team All-NBA defensive teams, LeBron James. Michael Jordan made 9. Michael Jordan made his 9th first-team All-NBA defensive team at age 34. This was, again, LeBron at age 33, and he quit playing defense because it made him too tired. Seriously, even Shannon Sharp admits that. Got to rest on defense, carrying such a load on offense. Well, really? Because Michael Jordan, 6 times in the playoffs, led the whole playoffs in what's called usage rate, just the time you have the ball in your hands. LeBron has led the playoffs once in usage rate and did not lead it this year. So others, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, had the ball in their hands an average of more minutes per game than LeBron did. So I don't get carrying this load. He is, according to Shannon and others, the fittest man in sports, or at least in the NBA. He's always showing off the guns in his Instagram posts. I don't get it because I saw a man tired tonight. Maybe, and many have made this case on Undisputed, maybe he's just mentally worn out by the pressure of trying to be the king. Puts a lot of it on himself. He's constantly talking about doesn't have enough help. I thought the speech he made to the media yesterday was basically a concession speech. I called it that on Undisputed this morning. Shannon, of course, scoffed, but I think it was a concession speech because it looked like LeBron James had already given up before tip-off tonight. He showed no energy, no urgency on defense, none whatsoever. He wouldn't help at all. He would often take the weakest warrior. So, like most of the playoffs, I watch closely, and LeBron, I think, called me out yesterday. He said it's hard to defend himself against somebody who doesn't understand basketball. Maybe I don't. One time Kevin Durant said I didn't understand basketball when I was defending him against Russell Westbrook because Russell took more shots than Kevin. This is going back 5-6 years ago. And I stood my ground, and finally Kevin Durant left Russell Westbrook because Russell was shooting more than Kevin. So maybe I did know what I was talking about there. I've only been covering the National Basketball Association since the 1970s when I'm speaking to you from Los Angeles. It was soon after I left Vanderbilt University, and I was working for the Los Angeles Times, and I was covering the Lakers pre-Magic Johnson. Just Kareem was here. So, I don't know. I know a little bit about basketball, and I know LeBron James didn't play any defense this year. And tonight was an eyesore on defense because he played that one-man zone where he just kind of hangs around the lane because he's got Draymond who won't shoot threes, or Jordan Bell, or somebody little, lesser consequence. And then all of a sudden Golden State would run their three-man weave at the top, and they'd be cutting left and cutting right and cutting back picks, and somebody would get free, and LeBron wouldn't help anybody. There was no help defender at all from LeBron, who's supposed to be the one-man zone in the lane. I don't know, just hard for me to watch. He's better than that. He's greater than that. And on offense, he was sluggish at best. And it started right off from the get-go. Kevin Durant had him right after tip-off, and LeBron's first shot was a drive. He attempted to drive on Kevin Durant, who just made him eat it, blocked it, clean as a whistle. And after that, LeBron was just sluggish. He went up again with 23 points. What was his? He had seven rebounds, 8 assists, but the 6 turnovers. But took only 13 shots, which showed you he just wasn't into it tonight. So that's 2 straight home stinkers. And in the first half, I tweeted this at halftime, he just looked tired, mentally worn out, physically worn out. I don't know. Michael Jordan didn't get tired. I know we had a little mini teapot controversy this week. I don't read the blogs, but my wife Ernestine said, hey, somebody found your column, or you can get it off LexisNexis, easy to get. Column I wrote after Game 5 of the 1998 Finals when I was the lead columnist for the Chicago Tribune. And in it, I think I have it here somewhere, but it's not handy. Anyway, the point was, in the opening paragraph, I referred to, I don't have it right in front of me, but I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but this is the night that Michael Jordan proved to be mortal. He stunk up the end of the game, and I blasted him in this column. This was the night I said that Michael Jordan got tired. It's just a sarcastic reference because he never got tired, and nobody said he got tired. It was just a throwaway line and I had 20 minutes to write that column, and I would encourage you to go find it because there's no other reference. There are 22 more paragraphs in that column. No other reference to getting tired, no quotes about it. Nobody brought it up. It's a sarcastic line. I'm being sarcastic because the only thing I was criticized for in Chicago was being too big of a Jordan defender, if you can believe that. I loved Michael Jordan because he deserved to be loved. In fact, during that finals, Bob Costas on NBC as the lead play-by-play man, my friend Bob used my line in the Chicago Tribune in which I called Michael Jordan a supremely talented overachiever. Like, he's got both things going. He's got supreme talent and he's an overachiever. Those were the days working with the great Tim Grover, the trainer, that they would do what they call the Breakfast Club meetings and workouts every morning. I believe they're at 6 a.m. at Michael's house with Scottie Pippen and Ron Harper, the other 2 front court players for the Bulls, that 98 team, and they hit the weights. And they did everything Tim Grover asked them to do at a supremely high overachieving level. So that was the Jordan who I thought was going to end it that night in Game 5 because they were up 3-1 with one more game in Michael's house, the house that Michael built, the United Center in Chicago. And I thought there was no way he was going to allow them to have to fly back to Utah for then, it was a 2-3-2 format, games 6 and 7. And I was dumbfounded and shell-shocked, as was the rest of Bulls Nation in Chicago, Illinois, to watch Michael fail down the stretch. He played the whole fourth quarter. He did not get tired. Again, it was a sarcastic line because I was saying, wait a minute, maybe he is human. Because that was the first human game I'd ever watched Michael Jordan play. And he did take a last shot, which was virtually impossible. He had to run to the sideline to catch the inbounds pass and catch it and fall away from the basket. He's 30-some feet away, 35 feet maybe, and shoot a fall away from out of bounds, which, as I said in the column, drew nothing but irony, not iron, because the guy best known for making last-second shots missed everything. And here we went back to Utah. And then you could also look up the lead on my column after Game 6 at Utah. And again, I don't have it in front of me, but the gist of it was, aha, that's why Game 5 happened. He was setting us up for Game 6. Because all Michael did in Game 6 was only 2 nights later. There weren't these 3 days off so you could rest and recover. All he did in Game 6 at Utah was score 45 of their 87 points. And all he did was steal the ball 4 times, including the steal late in the game from Karl Malone on one end, dribbled it up the floor. Scottie Pippen's over on the wing with his hands out like, give me the ball, I'm open, I'm open. He was open for a 3-point shot to win the game, and Michael said, nope, my ball, my shot, my team, my year, my game. I own the game of basketball, and he did. And he, little subtle shove off Brian Russell. It's the way the game was played in those days. And he went up just from beyond the free throw line, and he held the pose. I still have the one picture. It's the only sports picture I own, the only memorabilia shot from up court. You can see the horrified faces in the end zone section of Utah Jazz fans. This was in Utah, in Salt Lake. And they're just looks of... He did it again. Swished it clean as a whistle. And that was that. That was basically the end of Michael's career, because the 2 Jerrys, Reinsdorf and Krause, basically ran him off because they ran his coach off. And true to his character and basketball backbone, he said, you run my coach off for Pink Floyd, as they called him, Tim Floyd from Iowa State, I'm gone. And he walked out the door with Phil Jackson. And he stayed out for 3 years and had 2 just sort of ceremonial years, as you remember, with the Wizards that didn't really count to me at age 39 and 40, but whatever. He had earned the right to go play a little bit more basketball, but I only count the Bulls years, and I count that last year, and I count what he did in Game 6 after Game 5, and he was not tired. Nobody ever talked. There was never a narrative that he was tired. He made first-team all-defense that year. He dominated the game defensively in Game 6 in what was his finals game. Finals game. And, of course, he was the MVP for the 6th time, went 6-0 in the finals. And people make the case that LeBron James is better? Seriously? It's laughable to the point of being sad to me. I know Michael Jordan. I was there. I witnessed the force field, the assassin look in his eyes, the cold-blooded basketball killer that was Michael Jeffrey Jordan. I've never seen anything like it before. LeBron's the flip side. He's too nice for his own good. He's too thin-skinned. He's got great talent. But in a lot of ways, LeBron's a supremely talented underachiever when it comes to winning. And we saw it in these finals. Meltdown Game 1, kind of a non-game in 2, and then 2 stinkers in 3 and 4. Just stinkers. Just lifeless, didn't show up kind of games. And again, did he just sort of give up on his team and teammates and coach? I guess so. And, I love the city of Cleveland. I do. Every time I go there, I have a good time. I feel good about where I am. And I've met a lot of Cavalier fans, and I like them. They're good people. I know it's hard to stereotype and characterize every Cav fan. I'm sure a bunch of them hate me for being truthful about their man LeBron. But now, in all likelihood, he's going to leave you behind again, Cleveland. And he's going to go where the grass is greener and the help is better, I guess. I don't know, there was even a story today. Maybe he'd go to Boston if Kyrie wanted to go home, quote unquote, to the Knicks, because Kyrie could opt out. I mean, he hasn't signed long term with Boston. That'd be the best help he could get. With Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and their cast, Horford. I don't know if Marcus Smart could fit back under the cap. I don't know. But is that the best? To me, it seems Philly, because you got those 2 nuclear weapons, those 2 kids coming in Embiid and Ben Simmons, and if they could keep most of their sharpshooters, that would be a good fit. He needs to stay East. He doesn't need to go mess with the West. Houston, maybe. I just don't know how you fit it all under the cap and have a semblance of help around your big three with Harden and CP3 and LeBron. Not sure that's enough. In fact, it's not enough to dethrone these Warriors. LeBron could just sort of semi-retire and come here to Los Angeles. He owns, I read, 2 houses in Brentwood, which is about a mile that direction toward the ocean. I'm in Century City. He would be in Brentwood, very exclusive. Would he just semi-retire just for quality of life so his kids could go to school here and they could enjoy the weather and the city? It's a great place, Los Angeles. And he could play for the Lakers with Lonzo. I think they'd hit it off great. High IQ, completely unselfish. And the Laker kids that we know, I don't think they could keep Julius Randle, but Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, not enough to unseat the Warriors, dethrone the Warriors, obviously. So you got to stay East. I know Pat Riley's going to make a big push. I just don't know what they have to offer. And I'm not sure what Dwayne has left. But he had that one huge game, 28 points. Remember, at Philly in Game 2 for the Heat this year, the Kevin Hart game. Wow, what a game that was by Dwayne Wade. He still has that in him. He just can't do it every night. He can give you 20 of those minutes, maybe 15 to 20, but he can't give you 40 of those minutes. So is that enough to lure LeBron back? I know he still has Miami in his heart. That's what one source very close to Dwayne keeps telling me. They're having discussions. Pat Riley's involved. There's already been communication. LeBron is very intrigued by it. So I don't know. But I feel sorry for Cleveland because that was the end of LeBron in Cleveland. And yet, in the end, I'm happy about that. That ends the LeBron-Jordan debate. Once and for all, null and void, over and out. Just forget it. Give it up. Make peace with the fact that LeBron has been the best player of this generation, but he's got no shot against Michael Jordan. And even if you want to do the hypothetical, who would win one-on-one? Michael Jordan would destroy LeBron James. Trust me on this. I know. I've seen Michael destroy other players. Maybe not of LeBron's talent or girth or size or power, but Michael was strong, long and strong, explosive leaper, and in the end, he would trash talk poor LeBron James into oblivion. I have seen him destroy psychologically one star after another just by whispering in their ear, you ain't, you know what. You got no chance against me. I can't say the words, but you know what I'm thinking. And he would be all over LeBron psychologically. He'd outshoot him from the outside. He'd out-clutch him. And even though LeBron made a couple of big late clutch shots, I'm going to say it one more time, LeBron was not born with the clutch gene. I've said it since 2004 when I started on Cold Pizza on ESPN out of New York City. No clutch gene. He worked at it. He tried to control his emotions and his poise under pressure in year 15, and he did better. He blew several big games, or big regular season games. He had one disastrous stretch, but he did make the two big walk-offs, but they were to win, not to tie, not to win by one. He had the safety net both times of overtime, and I still say I would never trust LeBron James' clutch gene. I wouldn't trust. He showed you in Game 1. That's when the stakes were highest. That was to dethrone Golden State. If he would have taken and made that shot, and Golden State had to fight uphill, we would have had a 7-game series. Maybe Golden State would have come back and won in 7, but that was the series. And that ended LeBron's second go-round in Cleveland, and it ended the Michael Jeffrey Jordan conversation once and for all. I don't want to hear about it anymore. I want Shannon Sharpe to destroy that, to just burn that goat mask that he wears. It gives me the creeps anyway. I told him he should wear a scream mask. Now, that's what he should wear on Monday, just to hide his face. Or maybe a mustache and glasses so you can't recognize who he is. So, Shannon, you owe me 11 cases of Diet Mountain Dew now, and you owe me an apology for all those hours I've had to sit across from you at the debate desk on Undisputed, listening to you make your lame, pathetic, wrong-headed case that your man LeBron is better than MJ. It's over and out. That was the worst finals LeBron has ever played, even somehow eclipsing 2011. I feel sorry for you blind witnesses tonight, and I feel sorry for Shannon Sharpe on Monday morning on Undisputed. I'm not going to back off. I backed off after Game 3, the day after Game 3. What was it, Thursday? I felt sorry for him. And I told after his opening salvo, in which he just did his no mas, mea culpa, I got nothing, I turned to Joy Taylor. And by the way, congratulations to Joy. She's moving over to Colin Cowherd's show across the floor from us as it follows Undisputed. And we will have Jenny Taft in. I'm looking forward to that also. It's a win-win. But I turned to Joy after Shannon's opening remarks on Thursday's show after Game 3, and I said, I feel sorry for him. I don't now. I'm sorry. He lost all his bets, all his wings to Rob Parker, all his Diet Dew to me, and I'm going to pile on Monday. I'm sorry. I've taken my fair share of abuse, and I'm going to unleash on Monday on Undisputed. I'm going to throw some haymakers, and I'm going to end this LeBron-Michael discussion once and for all on live television between 9:30 and noon Eastern on Fox Sports 1. I will see you then, Facebook. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And congratulations, by the way, to the Golden State Warriors. And I haven't heard who got named MVP because I was distracted here. I hope it was Kevin Durant. He earned it again with just the Game 3 performance. I know he had a kind of a quieter triple-double tonight, but he also had 3 blocks tonight. I know Steph bounced back with a huge game, made 7 threes tonight. That'll work. But Kevin made all the shots in the game of games, Game 3. That's when it could have been still a semblance of a series if LeBron had managed to pull that off with that 1-point lead with 3 minutes to go. And Kevin Durant said, no, not in LeBron's house. He took the game over on offense and defense, and he deserves MVP. And I'm just guessing he won it for a second straight year and proved once again, when it matters most, he's the best player on the planet, Kevin Durant. He left Oklahoma City. Who can blame him now? He's got 2 rings and 2 finals MVPs. You can laugh all you want. You can cry all you want. But when the smoke clears, history will remember Kevin Durant has 2 rings that could be, 4 or 5 at this rate. And who knows how many finals MVPs. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I will see you, Shannon Sharpe, on Monday at 9:30 Eastern on Fox Sports 1. Good night, Facebook.